From quantum physics to world peace. Hello, I'm David Watkinson. I worked in movies and television in Hollywood for over 40 years. I started as a writer, but ended up creating animations, videos, and graphics that were featured in all these movies. My team created all the crime-solving animations for the TV series Bones, and virtually all the motion graphics on all the live monitors for Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek-type series, The Orville. That's me working on the bridge of the Orville. As a fan of Star Trek, Seth wanted his show to reflect the positive attitude of the original series. I'll return to that positive attitude as I look at proposed solutions for healing the divide among humans over two of the most controversial subjects on our planet: religion and politics. Religion and science differ over a very fundamental question. Are we each an enduring consciousness independent of our physical bodies that existed before we were born and will continue to exist after we die? Or are we nothing more than a bunch of biological cells and will cease to exist when our bodies die? If people believe their consciousness exists independent of their physical bodies, they can live with less fear of dying and more concern about how they treat others as they think about their purpose in life and the idea of karma. Unfortunately, the scientific establishment has attacked the concept of enduring independent consciousness as unscientific and unworthy of smart, sophisticated people. Mainstream scientists who follow the orthodoxy believe the universe is comprised of particles that can be arranged somehow to create consciousness. Some people call those scientists gritologists because it's all about grit, particles. Consciousness is just a function of the particles that make up the brain. It can't be separated from the body. As a result, mainstream scientists dismiss reports of out-of-body travel as mind-generated fantasy. And yet, I've done video interviews with people who have solid, verifiable evidence that they were actually out of body. But gritologists don't want to hear about it. Fortunately, physicists I worked with took the concept of enduring consciousness out of the realm of religion and spirituality into the realm of science with quantum physics experiments that are currently being performed at various universities, starting with the California State Polytechnic University at Pomona. We proposed the experiments in a peer-reviewed paper in a quantum physics journal. I was included with the scientists as a co-author due to my role as researcher and voice of the layman. The experiments test the theory that consciousness comes first, that physical reality is a consciousness-created virtual simulation. One way to look at it is that we're like players inhabiting avatars in a kind of video game created by a greater unified consciousness. Fully immersed in the game, it's kind of a dream that we wake up from when our bodies die. The theory is that the greater consciousness divided itself into individual pieces to have experiences from different angles to evolve the quality of each individual consciousness, to help evolve the quality of the greater consciousness. That may sound like a far-fetched idea to you, but consider mainstream science's explanation for the existence of the universe. Their Big Bang theory says that the universe began as a tiny point of almost infinite density and temperature, where all the matter and energy of the universe was compressed and then exploded. That could be consciousness just booting up the game. But gritologists scoff at the idea that a consciousness could have been the beginning, while they're content to ignore questions about where all the matter came from and why and how was it compressed to begin with. The idea that the Big Bang generated particles is all that matters. Well, maybe. But the Big Bang theory which originally grew out of a desire to match physics with the creation story in the Bible, does not explain the behavior of particles at the subatomic level, while the simulation hypothesis does. Or at least that's what the lead physicist on our paper is trying to demonstrate with the experiments. His name is Tom Campbell. As a young physicist, Tom was invited to meet Bob Monroe, a businessman who had been having out-of-body experiences and wanted to team up with scientists to figure out what was happening. So Tom agreed to help create the Monroe Institute if Monroe would teach him how to do out-of-body travel. They made the deal, and after some years of going out-of-body and teaching others to do it, Tom left the Institute to spend the next 30 years in his spare time going out-of-body, investigating the nature of reality with the rigor of a physicist. The culmination of that work was Tom's trilogy about his simulation hypothesis, presented as a TOE, which is a physics acronym for Theory of Everything. To understand Campbell's proposed experiments, we need to look at a belief by scientists ever since the birth of quantum physics in the early 1900s. The physicists knew that light acts as a wave when shown through a barrier that has two slits in it. It's like waves of water going through two slits, where the waves interfere with each other, causing highs and lows. Light registers with the same interference pattern. However, quantum physicists also said that photons that comprise light will act like particles if a measurement is made to determine which slit the photons go through. As a result, many famous physicists said that conscious observation, causing light to act like a physical particle, means that consciousness is the driving force in creating material reality. But for almost a century, Gritology-inclined physicists have claimed that consciousness can't have anything to do with it, and the measurement devices themselves must somehow be transforming the probability waves into particles. However, that argument was proven wrong by an ingenious 1998 variation of the double-slit experiment, which also tends to support Tom Campbell's theory. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiment eliminated measurement devices from detecting which path information until after the photons hit the screen. There's no way the detection devices could physically affect the photon on its way to register as a wave or particle. Here's how they did it. When the photon goes through slit A or B, it hits a crystal that generates a pair of entangled photons. The signal photon goes directly to the screen, while its entangled companion, called the idler, heads for a prism that sends it on one of two paths depending on which slit the photon originally went through. If the idler is on the slit B path, it will hit a half-silvered mirror and either get deflected to detector number 4 or it will pass through the mirror. In the same way, if the idler is on the slit A path, it will hit a half-silvered mirror, and 50% of the time it will either get deflected to detector number 3 or it will pass through the mirror. In other words, if the idler hits D4 or D3, we have which path's information, so the signal photon will register in a particle pattern. If the idler doesn't get refracted by the half-silvered mirrors and goes through to what's called the eraser section, it will bounce around and randomly hit either D2 or D1, which effectively erases or obfuscates the which path information, and the signal photon will register in a wave pattern. Either way, the signal photon's determination as a wave or particle is accomplished without it ever physically encountering a detection device. As can be seen when the signal photon locations on the screen are plotted with the times of detection of the idler photons. That confirmation for observation as critical in forming reality is important, but it's not the most important result of this experiment. That's because the idler photons take such a longer route to detection that their observation or obfuscation of witch path information happens 8 nanoseconds after the signal photon has already registered on the screen. Such a result appears to show that what is observed in the present will determine what happened 8 nanoseconds in the past. Rather than some kind of time travel, Campbell interprets the results to show that particles will appear when needed to render into the reality of an observer, but will remain as mere probabilities until there is an observer. It fits with Campbell's analogy with a video game where the player's view in a particular direction is only rendered when the player looks in that direction. In other words, both video games and the consciousness-created reality render worlds in the most efficient way. The point of all this is that science and religion should now be able to agree that there are at least rational reasons to believe that there could be a godlike, universal, unified consciousness, and that individual parts of it could operate like the eternal souls referenced in religions. Such a truce between science and religion could be followed by a unity among the different religions over the one thing they seem to agree on: the teaching that we should treat others as we would like to be treated. We'll look at that in our proposed projects to promote world peace. But first, the other most controversial issue: politics. And that brings us back to Star Trek and the Prime Directive. The directive outlines rules for spacefaring races to treat evolving civilizations with respect for their sovereignty. Not too long ago, an alleged complete version of the directive was presented on the internet as having been provided by an alien galactic federation of worlds. The claim was that the directive and other facts about alien life have been given to Hollywood writers over the years in various ways, from dreams to secret military disclosure. It's supposedly to help prepare humans for the revelation that we're not alone in the universe. I think the evidence shows that we're not alone. But whether or not that's true doesn't change the fact that there's good advice in the Prime Directive. Although it's for dealing with other civilizations in space, I believe it's good advice for dealing with each other here on Earth. As a result, I think we should declare our belief in sovereignty with a Prime Declaration. I talk about the declaration in a video that I'll end on. It's a project invitation that starts with a song to promote the basis for world peace: international friendship.
The year of friendship. We start with a hope that we can all find some joy living in the moment that will carry us through the day. It's a wish we can all share with others, no matter who you are, where you live, or what language you speak.
Italian mornings, you'll hear buongiorno. Japan evenings, konbanwa. Just wanna say we hope you have a fine day. Buen dia in the morning, kalinita for a Greek night. Just wanna say we hope you have a fine day. This is a present, it's time to get along. And that's why we're singing this song. From morning to night, you'll have a friendship win, like in India where they say Achadin. Just wanna say we hope you have a fine day. In China say Mehadani and next door in Russia Shoroshidin. Just wanna say we hope you have a fine day. This is the present, it's time to get along. That's why
hope you will be inspired to reach out the hand of friendship in this and all future years as you listen to the beliefs of your fellow humans about friendship.
Todos estamos relacionados, or we are all related, is a prayer of oneness and harmony from the Lakota people in North America.
中国的老子说 You can truly love all people without harming yourself, allowing others to rise to their fullest height, whilst not diminishing your own stature.
世界は一つの偉大な家族であることを忘れないでください。Do not forget that the world is one great family, says the Shinto faith from Japan.
See ye no strangers, rather see all men as friends, says the Baha'i faith from Iran.
Love your neighbor as yourself, says Judaism from the Holy Land.
Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule, says Buddhism from India.
He who sees all beings in his self, and his self in all beings, he never suffers, says the Upanishads from India.
A true believer is one with whom others feel secure, one who returns love for hatred, says Islam from the Arab world.
Be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love, in honor giving preference to one another, says the Christian New Testament.
Erhume tas cardiades que irini pasi. Let us lift up our hearts and may peace be with you. From the Greek Orthodox Church.
We're hoping people all over the world remember that their faith asks them to reach out the hand of friendship. But what if you aren't religious? My husband, who wrote the song, Have a Fine Day, and who's producing this Year of Friendship video, has a message for you.
If you're not religious, you may consider yourself science-oriented, hoping for some kind of Star Trek future with the ultimate law they call the Prime Directive. It directs us to recognize the sovereignty of all the other evolving civilizations that we'll meet as we venture out into the galactic community. Well, why wait to recognize the sovereignty of others? We can do it right now here on Earth. You could endorse our Prime Declaration.
The Prime Declaration. We believe it is time to eliminate all forms of human exploitation on Earth, from slaughter to slavery to mere manipulation for an unfair advantage. As a result, we agree to do our best to lovingly apply the Prime Directive's free will protections of sovereignty for all inhabitants of Earth. To help with that mission, we encourage all countries to use the Bill of Rights from the U.S. Constitution as a guarantee of citizen liberty.
To endorse the Prime Declaration, you can just put a post on your social media or website with a statement as simple as, I endorse the Prime Declaration on FineDay.com. If you endorse the Prime Declaration, it could be the first step toward working together to lovingly create international friendship. This year, in the coming year, and in all future years.
So have a fine day, and have a
Happy Year of Friendship!
Yay!
It's time to get along.
I'd like to thank the people who volunteered to sing in our friendship video, especially our lead singer with the voice of an angel, Stephanie Prodromos.
I am so thankful for Kim and her talented coworkers and friends. Their example shows the way for you and your friends at your club, organization, company to get together and sing the song of international friendship. If you make a video of your group singing along with a recording of Stephanie or with your own lead singer or just the whole group singing, we'd love to share it on social media. You could follow the song with a brief explanation of what you're doing to promote international friendship. Or if you're endorsing the Prime Declaration, you could explain your interest in that. We want to share the love. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a fine day.
Just one.